You want to check your leads now on the power cable and on the hose. Before I hook that up, I want to do a test. Let me get the gauge out. Well, I've got the put some gas back in it, got my gauge hooked up. And it went up and kicked out, which I think is what it does. It went up to 40 pounds. Let's see if we start. Well, it's not going to start because let's do that again. Okay, 38 pounds. And then it trips out and goes back to 0, which it's supposed to do. And the last pump, I remember doing this and it stayed at 38. It didn't relieve itself. So I wonder if that's an indicator of your bad pump. Oh well. I'm getting pressure. It's not going to start because this isn't attached. Dumb shit. Okay, continue onward. I'm getting up to about 38 pounds of pressure, and then it holds there. And it doesn't want to bleed off, so I've got fuel pump is working, so I have no idea what's wrong with this. Well, I've got the put some gas back in it, got my gauge hooked up. And it went up and kicked out, which I think is what it does. I also put some more fuel in the tank just because the first that I put in didn't have enough to get it to register on the needle. I put some more gasoline in it and it came up to about a half a tank, so I know that the float arm's working. So now we need to pull out the plug. This little plug here is basically spreads the ears because we put this in here. Make sure you have the fair lead correct, and then you have to push the sides in. Ow! Cramp in my finger. Push the sides in and there we go. Slides in and those ears pick out on the lip on the side. You'll see what I mean if you do it. And then this goes in and pops down, and it has a prong that latches onto the top, so now it can't come off. Okay. There we go. I kept looking for where in the hell this went up in here, but it doesn't. I'd forgotten it's down in here. And it's tucked back in, so it's just... And that's the plug for the light, the box light. So it just sets up in there. I don't think it came up over the top of anything. Well, I've been went and fixed this. What I've done has, if you've ever crossed over to my Red Barn Boats site on youtube.com/redbarnboats, you'll see that I've done a lot of epoxy work from glass. So what I did to start out with, I had these the little tits were broken off here. This little part right in here was broken off when I stupidly pulled that panel away, and I should have pulled the screw out, and I was thinking there were pops, you know, in behind. Not. So I was able to use some, it was almost like some CR glue, modeling glue, the really tough stuff, and I was able to get the tabs on the end glued back on stiffly, and then I was able to put a layer of glass cloth and epoxy on either side. So, and if you're wondering what the green cloth, I'll take my X-Acto knife, and it's something I do in my boats all the time, and I'll cut along this edge here between the green tape and the glass and then the black, and that'll give me a nice sharp edge. The inside is a little rougher, and I'll have to sand it down, but let me go ahead and clean these up and we'll come back. And they're back on. I've got the little metal clips on, and you can see where the glass I brought up on the inside here. And on the outside where I had the, Jesus, where's centered at here? Where the green tape, I had a nice line. I could get rid of all the white here if I wanted to put another layer of epoxy on it, but maybe I'll do that some other time. I'll get out my bag of bolts here, bolts and screws. This one's got that bolt that I had a hard time finding down here in the front. I'll go ahead and get that started. Get it. There's a couple screws up here. Go in. We got our little flap put in place. It goes underneath, and then 2 screws up here. And I also yesterday went and activated this, and then used my key switch to make certain that it would trip again. The other thing I'll have to do is when I put the seat and line up the hinge, I'll show you that again, the hinge mechanism for the seat, so that when the 2 prongs come down in here, they're not over here or back or forward, because I want to be able to make sure that we get this loose again. Let me go ahead and put the rest of the screws in. Because then once I get this in, then I can put the yellow part back on. Another thing you want to make certain of is the screw on the side. You got 2 of them on the very side here. And the back one, the yellow part goes in behind the black one. And you also have to make certain that down here, the black part of the fender well goes over. This goes underneath of it. And then this gets pinned through that way. So, and sometimes you may need a screwdriver. Use the little, the round shaft of the Phillips to line up a hole like that in order to help get the pop pin in. Well, let's do that. Make sure you push the head out so it's sticking out. And then put it in. This is just the 2 of them. The other one goes up here for this bottom plate. This little guy goes up right here. So, let me get the other ones. Now this little plate here, it's got a little nubbin up here. And if you look at it, you wonder how in the hell does it go? But if you look into the tail light part up here, there's like a channel, a C, that this little tab slides into. So you have to get it up in there to make it flush and push it in. There we go. And then that'll stay flush along that line there. When I took it apart, I thought I broke it. And then you got 2 pop pins. They go back in here. Sometimes you got to look to see that the pin isn't twisted, so that the ears have a hole to dive into. Because if the pin is twisted and the ears can't go into these little depressions in the pin, it ain't gonna go nowhere. There we go. Okay, put the screws in up here and we'll call that quits. Now the thing I'm having to deal with is I have a top case on here. And then I've got these holes drilled for the studs to go through. And these holes here have the longer bolts that go into the frame. And there's the third one we had to drill here that goes into this part in the middle, which will go on after I get the boat or seat on. But now I have to line up the seat hinge as the best I can, because I need to torque these guys down to 15 Newton meters. And I guess the best way I can do it is to make certain that the wear marks from the washers, or actually from the standoff studs, line up with the middle of the hole. And I'm probably going to put the seat on to make sure it lines up. I forgot to bring my keys out with me. So let me go ahead and torque this down, on both sides and then put the seat on, and then be sure that I can open it up. Well, we got the moment of truth now. These are 7 Newton meters on the bolts there. Aha! Success. It's lined up. Now I can go ahead and put in the rest of the bolts for the and now we've got this little top plate, and has the 3 holes for the rack in it. And so we'll get it up in place, and it clips over the end. This end right here slides over this clip on the end, and then these got the little tits that go into the holes, and they are really tough. It's almost pulling them out is like pulling off the tuning bar, especially the first time you do it. You swear you're going to be breaking everything possible. Okay. I'm beginning to think that cable for the light should be under this frame. There's no way to get through there, so it's got to be on top. Okay. Because it is raised up. There we go. Oh. There. Okay. Pop rivets all around. Well, all the panels are back on. I haven't got any parts left. So let's give it a fire up. I got the battery hooked up again. You can hear the pump. Yay! Well, I'm going to, next thing is going to be taking the battery out. I guess I'll have some of that too taken off the panels. You already saw the nose, the Y panel, and the windshield, and the little rubber skirt underneath. But now, in order to get that damn lid off the front to be able to lift the battery up, I've got to take off some of the dash stuff too. So that'll be another day. And hopefully I'll have my Big Wheels Tourney YouTube site straightened out. I made a mistake of this last spring probably signing up for Google+. It's like Google now and YouTube is kind of like this. It's like a pitcher plant or something. The bugs come in, you know, people, they come in, but there's hairs and stuff. You can't come back out again. So you get down there and then they eat you up. So as long as I have the Yamaha USA, I'll put on Google Plus too. See you later.